on Web3, and have a general look at what's been happening in the NFT market of late, which has been full of very interesting events and surprises. First of all, a little bit more about Few and Far. We're a pretty new NFT marketplace and launchpad built on Near protocol. We help companies provide exceptional digital minting solutions, and we go above and beyond just the JPEG and PFP collections, and we're looking at real-world utility, working with real big Fortune 500 brands. We ensure really that seamless and simple user experience for the end user to really engage with NFTs and Web3, whilst ensuring that IP owners are actually getting paid the royalties that they are deserved. We're backed by some of the top VCs in the space, including Pantera Capital. A little bit about me. I'm a serial builder. I've been in the space since 2016. I was a co-founder of a company project called Veracity. Before then, I was at a mobile advertising business that I exited, and we reverse merged and listed on the NASDAQ. So what we're doing, Few and Far, creating three complexities or three issues within the NFT and Web3 space at the moment. First thing is simple onboarding, really focusing on putting the user first and using latest technologies of blockchain to solve that. Second, making sure that royalties are paid and protected, so they're guaranteed for creators, for IP owners, as well as then looking at the next generation NFTs with what we call programmable NFTs or pNFTs, which you'll start to hear more about. And this was taken just 3 hours ago, actually, a quote from Polygon's Ryan Wyatt, looking at mass adoption happening on Polygon, and we're really starting to see next generation use cases of NFTs being adopted by some huge brands such as Starbucks with their Odyssey program, Bank of America, and really, we all know Nike, who've been a trailblazer in the NFT space for mass market. But one problem that we're seeing of late is that royalties can be sidestepped. And here's a quote from Bank of America that is, loving this program, how royalty streams can be linked to secondary sales, and citing Nike as an example that this is a huge revenue stream and a future revenue stream for digital assets and digital collectibles. But then what we've got now is a market which has been built in the first generation of NFTs, which is under threat. And it's under threat because the logic of NFT marketplaces has kept the business logic within the smart contract of the marketplace and not in the smart contract of the IP creator or the project. What has happened is creating a war on marketplaces in a bid to attract users, and by then not paying or not honoring the royalties that have been set up to give back to the users has been able to drive traffic. And a big driver and news that's happened a couple of weeks ago is a new challenger platform called Blur has come out and is opting royalty-free payments, which has been getting a lot of traction. And now it's reported that 80% of all NFT royalties are going unpaid. Magic Eden followed suit very quickly afterwards, saying that they will not honor royalties as set up in the smart contract. So now we've got a bit of a race to the bottom, and this goes against what the Web3 ethos is all about and the promise that you can earn royalties in perpetuity. Second to that, we do have this well-known challenge within Web3 of complexity and whether non-custodial, custodial solutions. But right now, I think everybody in the room can say that there's a lot of friction that exists when a user has to use a MetaMask, has to use a third-party wallet extension. And for the mass market, this just generates a huge amount of drop-off, which is reported at 86%. So something that is not going to gain mainstream adoption. And custodial solutions, there's been a number of marketplaces that have come along and said, oh, well, Web3 onboarding is really difficult. So we've built a Web2 solution with a social auth login, which is fully custodial wallets to solve the problem, which is a big step back from where we're trying to go with decentralization and Web3. So looking at what we've been thinking about, and we've been solving and working on this for the past 6 months now, and looking to really enforce royalties for those IP owners by a unique design, and that's putting the power back in the hand of the IP creators. And we do that today by really looking at how that business logic exists, that business logic being the transactions, the royalties that are due on every transaction, and actually putting that back into the logic of the smart contract of the IP owner, so the marketplace can't dictate those business terms. And a really nice example of this, of what the problem is right now, is imagine if you had a shop, you had a store, and you had a cash register, and you put in you trusted somebody that you've never met before, you don't have any employment contract with, you trust him to be responsible for managing your cash register without you there. And that's very much what's happening now with where these marketplaces can come and transact and not honor the business logic, and it makes it very difficult for a business. It's making it difficult for creators and artists. But we're not going to be driving adoption for brands like Starbucks and Disney if all of a sudden we aren't honoring those royalties that they have very much built their business around in legacy terms. And going on to talk about the few and far solution, we've forked a NEP 721 standard, which then enables us to give control back to that IP owner and build in a secondary mechanism that allows the creator to choose which marketplaces that they list on, which today isn't really possible, but now it gives, it's very new technology that on Ethereum, on Solana, starting to enforce those royalties, but it becomes very much a centralized design. And so jumping now, let's look at what we refine as programmable or pNFTs. The first wave of NFT technology has been very much about immutability, unlocking a piece of image, a piece of art to a token, and giving security of that user the guarantee that that art is theirs and it won't ever change. Now we're seeing more use cases and more utility where mass market and companies within gaming, within loyalty and rewards are looking to use NFTs differently. And they're looking to have more control within the within customizable elements of that NFTs. So you could get the community to be able to design your own PFP, design your own avatar, and you can change and trade and in and out the traits. We're looking at dynamic aspects of the media linked to these NFTs, and that dynamic aspect can evolve over time, which then gives the ability for companies or for projects to evolve the art, to evolve the story, to reward users for activity, and their image can change over time. We touched upon controllable, but having then the ability for creators to control which marketplaces they want to be listed on. And if a marketplace stops playing by the rules of what they want to do, they can easily stop their community transacting on those marketplaces. And composability to allow embedded added utility within each and every NFT. And all this can happen fully on-chain without the need of centralized databases to coordinate and to manage this. And what we've done at Few and Far specifically, which is the NFT Launchpad and Marketplace, as well as then the API that we'll go and talk about in a moment, is to create a really nice onboarding flow. And we do this through using web-based wallets. This alliteration is built on Near protocol, and it allows us a user to create a non-custodial, fully on-chain wallet through just simply using an email address and a password. And by that generates an on-chain wallet. It also is a human-readable wallet, which can be chris.near, which is much better than a very complicated hashed wallet address that scares a lot of users. And we use a wallet recovery password that's automatically emailed and backed up to that user, which allows them to recover their private seed and eject the wallet and connect it to any other third-party wallet operator. And through this onboarding, we're able to take their user through this process within under 10 seconds, and that includes minting their first NFT on the platform. So it's really good to get users onboarded. And you can come to fewfar.com and try that experience. And the second side of our business, we have an enterprise API, which enables brands, companies, creators, artists to get on board very, very cost effectively, very fast, without needing to be an expert smart contract developer using our developer tools. What this looks like from an API is a REST API. You can integrate into your app or onto your site with just a few lines of code. Requires keys for authentication, and it bypasses the need for on-chain communication through the API by creating a draft contract. There's three main steps that we are developers, which we've got around 10 developers now building in the first couple of months since launching this. And one of the really great benefits is we're seeing a reduction in gas fees for up to 98% with other layer ones. The NFT contracts are fully backwards compatible, so it's not going to be breaking anything that has been launching. And one nice thing about NEAR is it's fully carbon neutral, and we'll be rolling this out onto an EVM chains later on this year. The step one is then creating access through contract deployment, where with your API on both either testnet or mainnet, you'll be able to integrate a setup wallet which handles all the funding. From that integration wallet, that's where you'll be calling your gas, and it typically needs about $100 to set up to create a 10,000 and distribute to 10,000 different wallet addresses. So again, compare that to another chain, you're talking $100,000, $200,000. And the other thing is, with permissions, you are in full control and ownership of your contract as a builder. And you are a super owner with your wallet address, controlling that contract. You can then employ admins and control admin access rights. But at all rights, you own the contract in perpetuity through our templates. And the simple contract can be deployed in multiple collections through one contract, which is, again, another quite unique stance that we take at Few and Far. Rather than needing a separate contract for every different collection, you can then do a lot nicer organization, and you can have your community see all the collections under one contract. It's easier to manage on-chain. Once you've got a UUID generated, that's what you'll need to then be able to recognize and mint NFTs to certain collections. And we also support full whitelisting functionality, where you can manage who has access to be able to mint your NFTs and who doesn't. Step two then is looking at the contract, the creation and the collection creation lifecycle, where you can create a draft. That's where you enter all the basic information, the business logic of which wallet addresses are going to get paid, how much royalties, and information on the description, the title, the promise, etc. Adding assets to your collection, we follow the similar specifications as OpenSea, so you can then label your assets as per spec, add any JSON meta files, and the quantity of assets and NFTs. And then finally, you can create those collections on-chain through calling the API. And the great thing is that you can make any changes through an API call to either the draft or the full on-chain. And then when you're ready to mint, this can all happen within a few hours of development. When the mint happens, it calls our API, it signals the UUID, and then it you send the NEAR wallet address or the email address, which is a new feature that's rolling out, which is very unique. So you'll be able to mint NFTs to an email address, which reduces significant friction. And that user can then come to the Few and Far platform, use that email address to register their account very, very easily. And they will see their NFTs and that wallet that's been generated on the back end silently for them. And then it'll give them full access to the private keys. We have different types of flexible types of NFTs, so soulbound, generative, dynamic, and many of those programmable features that we just talked about, all through the API. And then you're able to do minting, have your collections automatically minted and verified on specific marketplaces. Finally, just going to talk about a really cool collection that we've been working with Sweat and Sweat Economy. Sweat Economy are one of the largest dApps in Web3. They've got 120 million users overall, but of that, 14 million of those users have a crypto wallet within the Sweatcoin app. And Few and Far partnered with them. We did an NFT drop with those users to 10,000 individual holders. And what we do is, within our on-chain indexer, we look at on-chain transactions. And those transactions are looking at your step data through the app, which is all opt-in. And all the steps that you do to help keep fit and keep active are actually being added up on-chain. And our indexer then adds that to the metadata of the NFT. And so over time, the more steps that you're doing, your NFT evolves and evolves, the image of the NFT evolves, and it becomes then a leaderboard and a contest and a competition to encourage fitness and walking. And from that, you can earn prizes and you can win crypto as well as other real world goods, etc. And then finally, we've got a number of resources online, so I encourage you, if you're interested in taking a look at our developer docs, you can scan this and see online if it'll work. Otherwise, log on to fewfar.com and you'll see in the resources everything online. You can drop me an email or a note, and I'll be over here to take any questions. But yeah, thank you all very much. We're also co-sponsoring the opening party tomorrow night, where we'll be giving some NFTs away, which will get you a free drink at the bar as well, and it will show you the simple onboarding process, which will take you 2 or 3 clicks to do. And looking forward to seeing you all there. Thank you.